Correct? So no, that is called as effective rate. So effective rate always will be more than the normal rate. Why I'm saying this? Always remember, effective rate is slightly more than your normal rate. Okay, let's go. Now, when the effective rate changes, now normally in compound interest we saw, in compound interest we saw that is sometime it is compounded half yearly, sometime it is compounded quarterly, it may be compounded daily. If you remember, even if you, it can be compounded monthly, compounded daily, compounded monthly, compounded quarterly, compounded half yearly. In such cases, effective rate will increase. Suppose the compounding is annual, 6% compounded annually, so effective rate is also 6. मतलब आप होटल में गए, खाना खाया, बट टिप नहीं दिया आपने मसाला डोसा खाया, आपने चाय पिया, 90 रुपये बिल आया, वेटर ने 10 रुपया लाके दिया, 10 रुपये किसे में डाल के बाहर आ गए, तो आपका रेट कितना हो गया? 90. खाया भी 90 का, इफेक्टिव रेट भी 90, ऐसा हो जाएगा. अभी शॉपिंग के लिए आप गए, बट टिकट ही नहीं निकाला, विदाउट टिकट गए और आ गया. In that case, it will be the same. Okay, but if it is, so when effective rate will change, when it is compounded. I'll say again, compounded semi-annually, half-yearly, quarterly, monthly, or daily. In that case, effective rate is going to change, and effective rate will be more than normal rate. If interest is compounded more than once in a year, the effective interest rate for the year exceeds per annum interest rate. How? We'll see that. Suppose you invest 10,000 for a year at a rate of, you invested 10,000 for a year at the rate of 6% per annum. Compounded, it's important. Compounded how? Compounded here semi-annually. Compounded semi-annually, half-yearly. Effective interest rate for the year will be more than 6% per annum, since the interest being computed more than once in a year. ज्यादा आएगा, 12% नहीं आएगा, थोड़ा सा ज्यादा आएगा. कितना? कैलकुलेशन देखते हैं हम लोग. दिस इज अ फॉर्मूला. E is equal to, E is effective rate, is equal to 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. How to remember? I tell student to remember compound interest formula is compound interest, that is A is equal to, in compound interest, A is equal to P in bracket 1 plus I raised to n. So here also you have 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. P is not there anywhere in the formula. You don't require P at all. What do you require? Only two things. To calculate effective rate, only two things are required. One is I and the other is n. I and n is required. That's all. Okay. So while calculating, we'll come across that sum. While calculating effective rate, if they have given any amount, principal amount, that is meaningless to you. If they have given capital I, that is interest amount, that is meaningless to you. What do you require? You require I, that is interest rate in point form, and you require n. Here it is. I have not done animation here, but you can see. 25,000 is invested in a term deposit scheme that fetches interest 6% per annum, compounded quarterly. What will be the interest after 1 year? You want interest amount, I, capital I. And what is effective rate of interest? Effective rate of interest, baad mein. So what is P? 25,000. I is 6%, that is 0.06. But it is compounded quarterly. Quarterly is divided by 4. So 0.06 divided by 4, that comes to 0.15. N is equal to 1 year. But quarterly, so 1 into 4, that is 4. Okay. Then I. Calculation is done. And you got A as A is equal to P in bracket 1 plus I raised to n, compound interest. I got amount 26,534.09. Subtract it, subtract P from that, and you get interest 6534. No, wrong. Wrong. Calculation wrong. 1000 it should be, na? 1000. So it's typing mistake. Interest should be 1000. 26,534 minus 25,000. Calculation, typing mistake rather, not calculation mistake, typing mistake. Okay. Yes. Let's go further. Now effective rate. Look at that effective rate. 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. 1 plus I from the above. I is 0. Quarterly. So divided by 4 करने के बाद का 0.015 raised to n. N is 4 minus 1. So final answer is 0.06136. That is 6.136%, or you can say 6.14. So what is effective rate? The final answer is your effective rate, 6. This is your effective rate. Approximately, I've said that sign. Look at this sign. Approximate sign it is. Approximately 6.14%. Any doubt? Any doubt? There is a correction, huh? That I will not be 6534. It will be 1000. 26,534 minus 25,000 should be 1,534. Typing mistake it is. Yeah. Otherwise, somebody will point out, sir. Yes. This should be 1, 5, 3, 4. Yeah, effective. That is effectively bank is offering, or they are offering 6%. Savio is asking me, sir, effective interest rate is always earned above original compound rate. Yes, 6% is bank offering, but really I'm not getting 6%. But really, in real sense, per annum I'm getting 6.14 because bank is doing quarterly interest. It is always okay. Original. So how much I'm getting extra? 0.14% I'm getting extra. Okay. Next. Here I'm saying another. If you don't remember formula in the exam, tension में formula याद नहीं आया वो. E is equal to 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. Alternative method is also there. Here you will require compound interest formula. So compound interest formula भी याद नहीं आ रहा है. Then I cannot help you out. Compound interest का formula तो याद आना चाहिए. So you can use this next method which is shown with yellow background. Alternatively, effective ROI can be calculated by using CI, that is compound interest formula. Here P is equal to 100. You have to assume. You can assume any amount. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. You can assume 1000. You can assume 10. You can assume 20. Any assumption. But I'll say always assume 100. Better. Here 1 always. While calculating effective rate, here is always 1. Remember that. I is equal to 0.06 from the data given in the question divided by 4. 0.015. N is equal to 1 into 4, 4. Compound interest formula is used there. A is equal to P in bracket 1 plus I raised to N. Solved it. I got A is equal to 106.136. Now subtract that P from it. That is 100. We assumed 100. So subtract 100 from it. So you get 6.136%. Another way of calculating.
पढ़ाई के लिए मेहनत तो सब करते हैं, लेकिन स्मार्ट स्टडी कौन करता है? प्री एग्जाम ऐप के साथ बनाइए अपनी तैयारी सुपर स्मार्ट। प्री एग्जाम ऐप देता है वाइड रेंज के एग्जाम्स की तैयारी, जैसे जी, नीट, कैट, सीए फाउंडेशन, सीएस सीट, बैंकिंग, रेलवे, एसएससी, एमबीए एंट्रेंस, एसवाईजेसी, कॉम, टीवाईबी कॉम और भी बहुत कुछ। चैप्टर वाइज टेस्ट्स एंड मॉक टेस्ट्स, डिटेल्ड परफॉर्मेंस एनालिसिस, और अब तैयारी होगी एकदम परफेक्ट। कहीं भी कभी भी पढ़ाई करें, और एक विशाल क्वेश्चन बैंक आपकी तैयारी को बनाए आसान। इंस्टेंट इवैल्यूएशन से तुरंत जानिए अपनी परफॉर्मेंस और पाएं पर्सनलाइज्ड फीडबैक। तो अब देरी किस बात की? प्री एग्जाम ऐप डाउनलोड करें और अपने नाम से रजिस्टर्ड करें और एक विशाल क्वेश्चन बैंक बिल्कुल फ्री और अपनी सफलता की कहानी लिखें। लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में है। प्री एग्जाम ऐप स्मार्ट तैयारी का साथी।
This is by compound interest formula. Assume P to be 100 always. If they have given any P, don't, for effective rate, I am saying P is not required. But here, I don't remember effective rate formula. Then I can use compound interest formula and I can calculate. Second method is alternative. First method is always best. 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. It's not difficult. Remember it from that compound interest formula only. Compound interest is P in bracket 1 plus I raised to n. But इधर P काम का नहीं है. Effective rate निकालते समय. So don't take P. So bracket 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. Okay. Next. Here, I want you to calculate. I've given data. Then give me answer. Find effective rate of interest if amount of 2 lakh is deposited in a bank for 1 year at the rate of 4% per annum compounded semi-annually. So I've given data there. You calculate by using E formula. E is equal to 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. Do it. Give me answer. Yeah, correct. 4 point. Use that formula. I gave you I here. So 1 plus 0 0.02 1 point, sorry, 1.02 raised to 2 minus 1. So finally 4.04. Here, remember this. I'm showing that arrow. That n should be taken always 1. Multiplied by, if it is quarterly, multiplied by 4. If it is monthly, multiplied by 12. If it is annually, multiplied by 365. Means, I'm telling you, while calculating E, n will be one of this always. If it is daily, then it will be 365. If it is monthly, n will be 12. If it is quarterly, it will be 4. And if it is half yearly, it will be 2. That's all. इसके बाहर नहीं जाएगा n. In question, principal amount is given just to confuse you. While calculating effective rate, we require ROI and n for 1 year only. आपको तो वो 2 lakhs दिया था, जानबूझ के कंफ्यूज करने के लिए एक्स्ट्रा इंफॉर्मेशन दिया है. कैलकुलेट ई का फॉर्मूला क्या है? ई के फॉर्मूला में पी है क्या? किधर भी नहीं है. ई का फॉर्मूला क्या बोल रहा है? ई इक्वल्स टू कैपिटल ई, दैट इज इफेक्टिव रेट, इज इक्वल टू इन ब्रैकेट 1 प्लस आई रेस टू एन माइनस 1. सो पी क्यों दिया था? कंफ्यूज करने के लिए कि आप उसका कुछ इस्तेमाल करो और वाट लगा लो. Here, which is better investment, 3% per year compounded quarterly or 3.2% per year simple interest? Now don't just say it is 3% is less and 3.2% is more. So 3.2% is more. 3.2% that is simple interest and 3% is per year compounded quarterly. You'll have to find out effective rate of 3%. 3% का इफेक्टिव रेट कंपाउंडेड क्वार्टरली. कैलकुलेट 3% का इफेक्टिव रेट कंपाउंडेड क्वार्टरली. क्वार्टरली मीन्स 4. 3% मीन्स 0.03. Effective rate. Priya, effective rate. Effective rate will be more than 3. Compounded quarterly. The 3.2% is per year. It has to be more. So how much? What is effective rate of 3%? I'm asking a question. I don't want final answer, Priya. I want effective rate of 3% when it is compounded quarterly. Others also, please reply. नहीं समझा question? Question नहीं समझा आप लोगों को? First part, don't look at the second part or 3.2%. Don't look at that. %3 per year compounded quarterly. का इफेक्टिव रेट निकालो. इफेक्टिव रेट का फॉर्मूला क्या है? E is equal to in bracket 1 plus I. I is 0.03 raised to 4 minus 1. बहुत टाइम लगा रहे हो आप लोग. हाँ, तो इफेक्टिव रेट कितना आया? 0.03%, maybe 0.034. So now this rate and compare the other rate, 3.2. Which rate is bigger? 3.03 is bigger or 3.2 is bigger? More is the better. Hello, I'm asking you a question. मैं आपसे सवाल पूछ रहा हूँ. कौन ज्यादा है? इफेक्टिव रेट कितना आया? 3.03. Enough. Okay. And then other rate is simple interest rate is 3.2. 3.2 is greater, so that is better. Here, say this. Here you have to calculate effective rate and then compare it with simple interest rate. Whichever is higher is better. %3 compounded annually, so divided by 4. Okay. .03 effective rate. Simple interest rate is more than effective rate of interest. Therefore, investment with 3.2% per annum, simple interest is better investment. Yes. This is exercise from your book 4.4b. Definitely modified. Certain sums I've taken as it is. Whenever I've taken as it is, I'll say there the sum is as it is, study material. But most of the sums I've changed the amount. Those difficult one, I kept it as it is. And some extra sum I have put on my own. I've not done every sum. Certain sums are easy. I'm skipping those easy sums. After this is over, I expect you to go through that exercise 4b. Now here, do it and give me the answer. The effective rate of interest corresponding to nominal rate 4% per annum payable quarterly is 4% ka when it is paid quarterly, find effective rate. Effective rate of 4% when it is compounded quarterly. Use that formula. Others, you are not replying.